Thanks for the 200 views, everyone. Now, on to the main topic of the video. Johnny Somali! Formerly known as Ramsey Honey Smell. Ramsey, which is how I hope the Korean court system would treat him, like Gordon Ramsay to a bad chef. Hadid, which is Arabic for eternal. And eternal damnation will be waiting for him on the other side. And Ishmael, being a name in the Bible that means God will hear, which I think he did because he's facing 30 years in prison. Disrespectful insults out the way, who really is Ramsey Hadid Ishmael? Well, he's an American kick streamer that tours other countries and provinces to terrorize the locals that live there. That's really it. He really is just that worthless of a human being. Now, before we begin, let me explain how this video will be paced out. The video will be split into two videos, with the first starting with Japan and Thailand. Just Japan, then Thailand, then Israel, then Korea. Where he will be touring for the longest time due to his sentencing. It will be done in arcs, chapters even, with no specific time or day for each video. And they're not going to be in order either, because I don't give enough of a shit. Each incident in each country is basically an arc in of itself. Starting off with the Japan arc. Woo! So, the first thing I'll be talking about is when him and his cameraman both got grounded by the protagonist of Japan. Just look at him. So majestic, so beautiful, so handsome. Blazing aside, this clip starts out with him arguing with some other majestic Japanese man, then his drunk companion jumping in to get her combo in. Then his cameraman tweets out of Somali trying to resolve the situation peacefully by telling him to back off. Then the Nihon no Jitenshu Gainu pulls up, which is an urban legend in Japan that nobody else knows, that basically states that you are going to have a bad time in about a minute and 20 seconds after they pass. Johnny Somali ignores the gang's warning and starts saying racist more times than MLK ever did in 5 seconds. They haven't even said a racial slur yet, because the Japanese are respectful. When we get to Korea, however, they will not be so kind. Then Jino, his cameraman, starts to say dame, dame, which means not good in Japanese. The only lick of it they know by heart other than nigga. Wait, it's Korean. Oh, so that's what that guy meant. Foreshadowing aside, let's skip a little. Johnny continues to call the guy and girl racist while calling him the N-word, which doesn't work on the Japanese because they are from Asia and never worked on plantations. But they did work on concentration camps. Wait a second. That fool. Then our protagonist, who has not said one word, decides they need to shut up. So, he does his Kitsune Fang Fist right into both of their faces. A perfect hit. So perfect you could actually hear Johnny Somali losing his coins that he received from that super chat. He later picked them up, the guy who hit them, and spent it on new cosmetics at the store. Misinformation aside, he beat both their asses with one punch and left them looking at the curb. Or the skies of Osaka, depending on where they fell. Now how does this fit into a story arc, you may ask? Well, it starts with an in media res with the argument starting without any knowledge of what caused it for a beautiful rising action beginning. A quick resolution that fails due to the ego of our friend Jino. Then foreshadowing the resolution with the Nihon no Jitensha Gainu. Then just as you think the story has reached its climax and is about to go into the following action, boom! A plot twist occurs that sends the story straight into the resolution. A perfect story archetype that will go down in the history books, rivaling both Tolkien and Stephen King. Such a beautiful story. So sad we have to move on to the next one. Time for a useless story! Oh my god! Oh! Before we get started with the useless story, let me explain what they are. A useless story is a story that doesn't matter, like I say whatever I want about it. Kind of like the last one, but more joking and less lecturing. So, the beginning of this story starts with his cameraman recording a shrine that a woman is praying at. Who are they praying for, you may ask? Well, they are praying for...
Is that fried chicken? And he's gonna eat it at a gorgeous Japanese ginger? Look at him eat it! If only this were recorded in Detroit, then we could see a full-scale anime battle over the last Popeye swing that would rival Berserk. But he gets to eat it in the safety of Japan. Look at him act like he's praying at the shrine while eating. Such filth for doing this on purpose. Like a child sneaking bites in during grace. Anyone who does that deserves to be hung, drawn, and quartered. And thankfully we can do the hanging part in Japan. Oh wait, he left Japan? Damn it! Look at the woman praying like a normal Japanese citizen. So peaceful and demure, so patient and diligent. Then she sees this entity eat his cheap Izumaya chicken wing that he got for 20 yen, and leaves due to his revolting mannerisms. So disrespectful for the nation that struck fear into the entirety of Asia during World War II. Then his viewers sent audio to disrupt the peace further, where he gets on his knees like a prostitute and sucks his cheap drink dry at that shrine. What a disgrace to Togeza!
A weird commentary, but you're not wrong. Just to let you know, that was my segment though, you Nimrod. Moving on to the second segment of the Japan arc. This is really only to make up for my segment being stolen by some poser. This clip is an older one. Probably around the time he started Kick, because this is before Jino, but after the Twitch ban. This is a funny argument between him and a Japanese guy that doesn't know much English. The Japanese guy starts off by calling him a... You can hear a certain noise in the background that I don't really understand. But then Somali claps back with the award-winning and absolutely truthful phrase,
I'm a comedian. You know a comedian?
This prevents any further criticism and blocks all incoming takedowns. Unfortunately for him, this Japanese man does not play by the rules and plays the amazing Kanzana Hakai by saying,
I can't laugh you. Because you don't understand.
Which Hakai surus the comedian barrier and opens him up to more attack. The nameless man in the background sees this and starts to make more noise, I guess congratulating the Hakai no Tatsujin on his rebuke. Somali then uses the "you don't understand culture" and the "I'm American" barrier, but immediately gets shut down by an imitation, which means the Hakai no Tatsujin is flattered by his point, but not ready to give him the win. The Hakai no Tatsujin then uses the wave away wave that fails due to Somali's high level of ego and low level of intelligence. The Japanese man then uses the Kanzana Hakai once again, and Somali uses escalation and retaliation, which starts a small scuffle in the area. They then start using the same attack against each other, which makes us think that the fight has ended in a stalemate. What? A Japanese man hearing the scuffle between Somali and the Hakai no Tatsujin appears, breaking the stalemate, causing Somali to backpedal and use the sympathy defense.
I'm over here feeding the homeless.
Which is where we see the Hakai no Tatsujin no Sensei, Master Roshi! My, has he gone to great heights for teaching the new Hakai no Tatsujin? Somali should be ashamed of himself for calling the great Master Roshi a homeless man. Then the clip ends unexpectedly. Personally me, I think the Hakai no Tatsujin gets the win over Somali. His technique was just much more elegant and destructive. Look at his name.
Nigga, you
Master
ain't
Roshi
funny.
really taught this man well, and I hope he goes on to win more battles in the future. Moving on to the final segment of the Japan arc, his arrest! Now before we get to his arrest, I have to
Video padding!
talk about what
Video padding!
got him arrested.
Video padding!
The story emerges in Osaka, Japan, where Samarigo-sama wears a ridiculous mask while spotting some bullshit. What does Yamayoshi niggas mean, and what does Yamaguchi-gume niggas mean? You can actually see a member of the Nihon no Jitensha Gainu ride his bike down the street. Then, Samarigo-sama NPC walks into the construction site where there are, from what I'm assuming, Japanese men on their breaks. Then his cameraman, Jino-Kun, starts to regret walking inside of the building and starts to damage control immediately so that he doesn't get arrested later.
This is wild. I'm just a cameraman right here.
Sadly, that didn't work because they looked for him too. And a disgruntled Japanese employee presses him harder than a 005 and makes him leave the building while Somali tries to stay that he's there for work. When he starts to get pushed out of the building, he mentions Fukushima, which is a nuclear plant disaster that cost the lives of 2,000 innocent Japanese souls. and he's randomly yelling it out at a random Japanese hotel construction site?
We come to work. We come to work. We come to work.
His arrest video occurred a month after this video in September for conspiracy of obstructing business, which means he acted like an insolent monkey at some restaurant by playing loud noises and sounds on his hacked Chinese Huawei phone. Okay, with the context now out of the way, we can move on to the hilarious arrest video of Johnny Somali and the pity party Gino had following Johnny's arrest. Johnny's arrest starts out with him being followed by one officer and him being scared. So he goes inside of a 7-Eleven to buy a drink, but once he comes out, as referenced earlier, the Nihon no Jitensha Gainu pulls up, this time disguised as police officers to help aid in his arrest. The last time the Nihon no Jitensha Gainu aided in his capture was back before the Jitensha even existed, and all they rode on were Jusha or ox-drawn carriages. The Jitensha ni Noru Otokatachi block him in, making his escape fruitless. They then ask him for identifiable information, but they already know who he is. They then ask to search him, which he responds to in the most ridiculous way, Daijobu, instead of Daijobu. He has no idea how to speak this language, and he has been living in this country for longer than most people can dream to afford. Even the police know his Japanese is complete Dankei sounding, which is why they say English. The clip then cuts to him actually saying a Japanese word correctly, which is Nande, which I applaud him for. They then search his bag, which has nothing in it but chargers. Broke ass. The police officer is even so kind that he closes it for him. See how respectful and peaceful these people are? The police then begin to frisk him, and his fly is unzipped. He then starts to call the officers gay for searching him, which is ridiculous because of some other actions he did in Korea that would cement him as the police shop Diddy. Skipping ahead, an unmarked police clown car shows up, where he is probably arrested by police and Professor Membrane for his actions in an Osaka construction site and restaurant. I don't know why he's yelling chat call the US Embassy. Does he think he has government officials watching his streams? He probably does. But not from the United States. That was a very long segment. Johnny Somali was put in Japanese prison for 23 days, when he really should have been sentenced to 4 years in daily re-education by the Nihon no Reipu Master. But now it's time to see the fallout of the incident, starting and ending with Jino-Kun's pity party. So, the clip starts out at a hotel that Jino-Kun is staying in. He's whining about how he can't figure out what happened to Samariko-sama, his sensei. For him to figure it out, he would need to go from Osaka all the way to Minami, which is a 5-hour trip. Skull. And one thing I do want to point out in this video is the comments. Back to the point, he then says to call Minami, but what he really should be doing is calling his mommy, cause he's a sissy, and we're not even at Thailand yet. He then states that he brought the police over to him, which is a great way to be placed in the same cell as Johnny. Very, very smart plan. And apparently I was wrong about him only knowing Dame. He also knows Tomodachi, which is friend if you didn't know. A chatter then states that if he goes to the police station that he'll be arrested, which should be true. But then again, he did have them at the hotel and nothing happened. At the end of this clip, Jino-Kun accepts his fate and stays put in the... You've gotta be fucking kidding. A second clip reveals that when going to Minami, a couple of PIs spawned in ready to cut his ass alive! Hyperbole aside, all that really happens is that the police tell him to turn that shit off, and after he, stops being a dick, he complies and turns off the stream. Other than that, it was a peaceful encounter. Jino was also be arrested sometime, I don't know when, but when he was going to Minami, so in that 5-hour period. He would later be released among Somali, and this would lead us to the second video that I will be making. Phew! And this was only the first video, my goodness. Well, expect the next Somali video to be out probably next month, but I will have another video in the next 2 weeks after this one releases, obviously. So with my babbling aside, au revoir! Have a great day, evening, night, I don't care when your time you're watching this video. And I hope that your day is feeling very nice. I also want you to like and subscribe. With that aside, goodbye!